Hi class, so this is really the start to our first kind of session of online lectures, which is just bizarre. Bizarre that I won't be seeing you guys again, bizarre that we're going to be doing online learning. So just know that every single day from 12:30 to 2:30, I am going to be available to you for questions, Zoom sessions, emails. I just had a student get off the phone with me. So whatever it looks like for you to get some help, get clarification on how to move forward in my class, please feel free to take it. This is my job, is to be here. So first thing I want you to really pay attention to is this first big date right here. Literature analysis rough draft. I have to have that into me this week by Friday by 11:59 p.m. It will be due digitally on the Turnitin link in the assignment folder. Okay, so in the assignment folder. And really my goal is to have you get that to me so that I can get feedback to you in time for you to move through my class at the appropriate speed. Now, the second thing, so this is number one I want you to pay attention to this week. The second thing is that normally the week after spring break, we would have had a quiz this week. So the way that we're going to move forward is that all of these quizzes are now going to be in what we're going to call our quizzes folder. And that quizzes folder, you're going to have quiz 4, 5, 6, and 7 in there. And my goal is that you will be able to take them at whatever speed you need to. There's no longer due dates, no longer things that are happening on specific dates, but we're going to move through content at the same flow. So quiz 4, 5, 6, and 7 will be in the quizzes folder. You may take them at any point in this semester. I have some students that are going to have to finish up class in the next couple weeks. I have some students that are going to have to finish up class towards the end of the semester, and I have some students that are just going to do it week by week. I do not care how fast or slow you move through content, as long as you understand with quizzes, you get one attempt. One. That's it. Okay, so if you take that attempt, you're done. We're moving on, okay? There will be no exceptions to that. So make sure you take that quiz when you are good and ready, when you have studied, when you've prepared for content, and then there will be cheating software installed, and you have 15 minutes to take it. So we're really going to need to know the content. You're not going to be able to Google and copy and paste. Now, the next thing I really want you to pay attention to is you'll notice that number 3 and number 4. So, number 3, the final paper is due to me no later than May 8th at 11:59 p.m. It needs to be edited from all of the feedback I provide you. If you want to turn that into me early and get class done early, you are welcome to, but I have to have it to me by this date, no matter what, okay? And then you'll notice we do not have a cumulative exam in my class. We only will have quiz 7. Again, same format. It will be in that quizzes folder. And you will get one attempt. That is it. No exceptions. You could take it next week if you want to. My goal is to try to get as much content up to you this week as humanly possible. So normally this would have been the end of biology and genetics and us moving into what we call the systems unit, which is usually where we start getting to do all of the fun stuff in my class. Unfortunately, the coronavirus has really changed things for us. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to do the best we can with what's in front of us. So normally we would start in the digestive system, so module 9, which is what this lecture set is going to be about. We're then going to talk about how the digestive system breaks down nutrients, and then we're going to move into understanding just basic systems of the body. So how does the brain work, the heart, the lungs, and then we will move into reproductive systems from there. So here we are, systems, content module number 9. If you're following along in the textbook, that is going to be chapter 16. This is what we call digestion and absorption systems. So what do I need to know? This is kind of your study guide, and we've had one of these every single week of the semester on our PowerPoints. Let me go back one. But the difference is that now on your lecture folder, you have a very detailed version of this. So normally what I would highlight, ask questions about, practice in lecture classes, I've now posted in kind of a skill set form on Blackboard. So it's just taking this information and being a little more specific about what you need to know. Okay, so this is going to be your study guide for both lecture, and then you'll also see a what you need to know section on your lab activities. So let's get started. Digestion and absorption. So the first thing we really need to talk about is, one, how do we digest? And then after we've digested, how do we absorb? And these two are really going to be processes that work together. So we're going to have an animal take the food in, okay, if we start here. That animal's going to break the food down. It's going to move that food into the cell. It's then going to use that food for something, some purpose, and then you're going to get rid of everything that we are not using in the body. So that's going to be ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and then elimination. And so I like my little cat here because it really shows you kind of how we're working on this. So if we're talking about digestion, you'll notice that we need to first reduce particle size to molecules that can be absorbed into the blood and then used to support body functions. So digestion is really going to be, once that food enters the mouth, we're going to see lots of ways that food is digested. So there's going to be some enzymes in the mouth. There's going to be lots of different ways we see particle sizes break down inside the stomach and small intestine. And so that's going to be really this process of digestion. Okay. And then once we've seen that food break into these smaller molecules here, this is where we really start to see absorption occur. So once the molecules are the correct size where they can actually move through the bloodstream and then move into a cellular, I'm going to put cellular level here. That's when we're going to actually see the body utilize that, move that into things like the mitochondria, move that into things like building proteins, at transcription, translation. So any of that is a great option. As we talk about digestion and absorption, you'll notice that we always move from taking that food, breaking down the particle size, and then allowing the body to take in the particle size that will move through the cells and through the bloodstream. So if we use this chicken as an example right here, okay, we're going to talk about her stomach, we're going to talk about her excess organs, so things like the pancreas and the liver and the gallbladder, and then we're also going to see a lot of digestion and absorption also occur in the small intestine. And you'll notice that depending on if I'm talking about carbohydrates, if I'm looking at lipids, or if I'm looking at proteins, they're going to break down at different points in the body system. And you'll see I'm taking a carbohydrate and breaking it all the way down to a monosaccharide. And then that's what actually gets brought into the cellular level of an organism. Whereas on lipids, you're going to see us break it down into what we call fatty acid monoglycerides or triglycerides. And then proteins are going to get broken down again all the way down to those amino acids. And remember that those amino acids are that building block for transcription and translation that we talked about. Okay, and so we have to, again, take something big. So think protein for chickens. Let's talk, a soybean meal. Okay, and maybe for a carb, we would talk about a corn. And as we move through their body, you're going to see, at certain points, we're going to see, saliva is helping break down a carbohydrate. However, saliva doesn't do much for a protein here. But then when we move down to the stomach, you're going to see the stomach breaking down carbs. Okay, you're going to see the stomach helping to start break down proteins, but we actually don't see a ton of fat digestion until the end of the stomach as we're moving into the small intestine. Okay, so that's just going to be kind of how we see different things break down, and you'll get into this in a lot more detail in our advanced nutrition classes, but this is just kind of an understanding of different feed ingredients are going to break down in different locations inside the body. So there are 3 types of digestion. So we have mechanical, chemical, and enzymatic. Okay. And chemical is going to be involving, this is what we call gastric acid or hydrochloric acid. So think stomach acid is really what's happening here. Mechanical, I want you to think all of the muscles. So all of the muscular contractions that are happening all the way up to the esophagus, all of the churning and mixing that we're seeing happen in the stomach, and then we're also going to see enzymatic. And enzymatic tends to happen a little further down, so usually we're talking small intestine. We will see some enzymes in the stomach as well, and some enzymes in the saliva, depending on the animal. So you'll notice that again, okay, when we're talking about types of digestion, okay, so chemical digestion, okay, and mechanical digestion, we're going to see those kind of happen throughout the system. Really, chemical digestion is going to be happening in the stomach, okay, and then enzymatic, we'll see a little bit of it in saliva, but most of that enzymatic digestion is happening in the small intestine. Now, when we talk about the steps of digestion, I love this cartoon because it's so funny, but accurate, right? If we think about just kind of, the process of digestion, if we had to make a cartoon out of it. But when we talk about the steps of digestion, this is where it starts to get really important that you understand what each one of these means. So with steps of digestion, prehension is the first step. So if you look at my pig little gif we've got going on here, that pig is bringing food into its mouth. Okay, usually we don't advocate that pigs eat ice cream, but it's a great teaching example. So prehension, step 1 of digestion, bring food into the mouth. Step 2 is what we call mastication. That's going to be the chewing of food. Salivation is when, as we're chewing or as that animal is chewing food, it's mixing with saliva. And then deglutition is the process of swallowing it from the mouth down the esophagus and then into the stomach. Now, the stomach is going to be the 5th step of digestion. This is where we see the 3 types of enzymatic digestion, the 3 types of digestion in general, so chemical, enzymatic, and mechanical. Then we see small intestine, large intestine, defecation, or micturition. Now, when we talk about small intestine, you'll notice that it's a primary source of what we call enzymatic digestion, and it's the primary source of just absorption in general. The large intestine's job is really just to pull water out of whatever material is being left so that we're not getting dehydrated. And then whatever material has not been digested will get pushed out of the body in some type of excrement, or we'll see it move through the urine system, through the kidneys, and you'll see us have urea in mammals and uric acid in birds.